So this is how we're gonna start our project. I have Adobe After Effects CC right here. When you open that, this is a layout. We're gonna see it, and we're gonna do a new comp. So you go to the top, and you're gonna find composition and new composition. Normally, I leave this the way that it is. Since I already messed around with it, normally the duration is 30. I'm gonna do 10 right now, and I'm just gonna hit OK. So this is the layout for a new comp. So this is your project area. It's basically, if you think about Maya, you have the channel box and the attribute editor. So everything that you create, every effect, every text, everything that you create is going to appear on this side of After Effects. And you can just change the values and you can see the result in the view. This is a view, so everything that you do is going to appear here. These are some, on this side, these are some attributes that you can use it. For this particular podcast, I'm going to use more effects and presets. And this is your timeline. This is your timeline and this is your layers. So basically it's a basic layer system. What's on top, it's gonna be like on top here, and what's on the bottom is gonna be on the bottom. And you can blend, you can add, you can merge, you can do whatever you want to do, so then your comp will be better. So first I'm gonna go to my timeline section right here, to my layer section. I'm gonna do right click, I'm gonna go to new, and I'm gonna go to solid, because I want to build a background for my effect. So I'm gonna name this as my background. I'm gonna pick the color here, and I'm just gonna hit OK. This is what we have right now. Nothing is moving, but this is gonna be my background for now. Now what I want to do, I want to add a ramp in there, so then it's clearer on the middle area, but it's kinda dark on the edges. Kind of a vignette, if you think about Nuke. So I'm gonna go to my effects and presets. I'm gonna type here ramp. I'm gonna left click and drag on top of my background. So now you can see that there's a ramp on my background. After that, I'm gonna go to my attributes, to just like the channel box in Maya. So then I can change some values here so then like my view is gonna be what I want. First thing I'm gonna change is I want this here to be 540. Oh, just to explain, since this is not a 3D software, it only has X and Y. So these numbers here represent X and Y, X and Y. So every time that you see a number, comma, another number, that represents X and Y. So I'm going to change my Y to 540 over here, and I'm going to do the end of my ramp. I'm going to put 1920 for my X, and for my Y I'm going to put 1440. Since I already did this before, I already know what I'm going to do. That's why I already have the numbers for that. And I'm going to change the ramp shape to radial. That's nice. And the nice thing about this is that it has this button right here, swap colors. So now here I have that nice vignette for my background. Now we're going to start adding the particles. So again, I'm going to create a new layer, a new solid layer. I'm going to name this my particle effects. and I'm gonna hit OK. Nothing's happening again, but right now I'm gonna add the particles in that, so I have to select that layer, the particle effects layer, because it's on that layer. I want that effect to happen. I'm gonna go to effects. I'm gonna go to simulation, and I'm gonna click CC Particle Systems 2. So if you scroll here, you're gonna see that now you have like particles coming out of you can call it an emitter, but it's coming like from the middle. So this is what you have right now. Of course, you're gonna change that right here on our channel box. So basically, it's the same things that Maya has, and so you have a birth rate, you have longevity, you have a producer, so you can do the position and the radius for the particles. You have physics, so you can do velocity, gravity, resistance, direction. You have particle. You have particles, so you can do which type of particle you like, birth size, opacity map, max opacity, color map, which way you want your color to appear. You can choose different colors, transfer mode. So you have a lot of things that you can play with. So for my birth rate, I'm gonna put 1.5, and for my longevity, I'm gonna put 1.3. Now I just need to change the position, because what I wanted to do, I wanted to cross from here to here. So first I want to sorry, I want to put the position first. So right now I'm gonna put this position right here, my position in X. I'm gonna put negative 200. Now it disappears in here. But if I continue playing, it's gonna stay here because I just moved there. So now what we want to do, we want to key that. The way that I am going to key, I'm gonna click here, so then it starts in here, and I'm gonna go to my frame 3. I can just type here 3. Now it's already in there, but right now I want to move this all the way over there. You can change the values here, you can put whatever value you want, or if you just put your mouse on top of it, you're gonna see that there are these 2 arrows in there. If you just left click and drag, it's gonna follow it. Not only does it take a long time for me, because I have to go and keep doing that, what I will do, I'll just type a number here that I know that my particles will disappear. I'm gonna type 2,300. So from frame 1, I'm just gonna walk over there, and it's gonna disappear after a while. The nice thing about that is that you don't have to set another key in here, because this is a kind of an auto key. So when that's done, I'm gonna now go to my physics. Right here, it has a velocity, gravity, things you have in Maya. Since I want this to go straight, I'm just gonna take my gravity to 0. So now it doesn't fall, it just keeps going in straight. But I'm gonna change my velocity to 0.3, because since I put a keyframe right here, it's gonna go too fast. I want just to do a kind of an offset. So I'm just gonna put here 0.3. Now it's gonna go slower from frame 0 to frame 3. And you can also see that the particles, they kinda went smaller. Cool, awesome. When That's done. I'm going to go to my resistance and I'm going to type here 10. So now you can see what's going to happen to my particles. See? They are resisting, they are kind of shrinking to go more to the middle. So if you crank this up, it's going to make a line. If you put it to 0, it's going to kind of separate. I'm going to put it to 10 because that's nice number and a nice effect that happens in here. Yeah, I love number 10. After that, I'm going to go to my Particles tab. Here, you can decide which particle type you want. Right now, I'm going to do a tree polygon, but you can do whatever you want. Sorry, my computer was running out of battery, so I just had to go to my room and pick up the battery. But yeah, this is a particle type, so you can choose whatever kind of particle you want. If you want bubbles, it's gonna do bubbles all the way. If you want faded sphere, same thing. You can also do sphere if you don't fade it. It kind of look like bubbles too, but it has like this nice edge right here. It's really visible. That's why they have like bubbles. You can do quads. You can do whatever. For this particular podcast, I'm gonna do a tri-polygon. Let me just go back like here so you guys can see what's gonna happen to my particles. On my opacity map, I'm gonna put fade out sharp. So then when it's fading out, it's still sharp as it is in the beginning. So you guys can see that. And to my transfer mode, I'm gonna do screen. Look at what happens to this part of my particle right here. See? They're clearer. So now that I have that, I'm gonna just choose which color I want. I'm gonna pick two of my favorite colors, which is purple and pink. They're like number 1, number 2. But since this, you can see they have like 3 different colors because this is the first color you pick and this is going to be the last color you pick, so this is the blending between them. So for my birth color, I'm going to pick a nice blue, because from blue to red it goes purple. Then for my death color, I'm going to pick a pink. And you can choose whatever color you want. You just go here and click and you have like saturation levels and everything. So now this is how it looks like. Now what I want to do, I want to add kind of a glow in the beginning, so then it knows where to follow, and it looks like that's it. That's what it's emitting the particles from. So right now I'm gonna add a flare, a lens flare. So I'm gonna go back to my layers. I'm gonna do a right click, new, solid. I'm gonna name this layer flare. And I'm going to hit OK. When that's done, select this layer because now we're going to go to our effects and presets. If I just type in here flare. They're gonna give me an attribute called lens flare. I'm just gonna left click and drop on top of the flare layer, and this is what gives me. Right now there's no animation in there, and it's just like a picture. This is like I think it's used for like photographs. It's going to look pretty. Honestly, I don't like it because I cannot see the picture. So right now what I want to reduce all this light information to just like one glow point in the middle. So we're gonna go to our channel box right here, and I'm gonna change the flare center to 960. I already have these numbers, and this is actually the exact, not the exact number, but a number closer to the middle area of my screen, and 540. Cool. With that said, I can choose a lens type. I can choose this one or this one. I prefer this one because right now if I just decrease my brightness to 15, I have a nice like little point in there. By the way, this noise you guys are hearing, it's my cat. I don't know. He just woke up. Just crazy. Okay, so this is what I have for my flare. So right now, there you can see that there's no animation in there, and I want this flare. Sorry, let me go back. This flare, I want it to follow these sparkles over here. So for me to do that, I'm gonna have to copy the position of these particles and paste it into the flare position. So I'm just gonna open the layers here, and you can see there's a position number right here, which is this one right here. Now if I go to my particle layers, I can go to my effects, you see, producer, because it's on my producer where my position is, and this is the position already keyed. So if I just click on this one, go to edit, copy, go back to my flare layer, click on the position and paste it, you can see that my flare is following that. Now that it's following, we're just gonna have to figure out a way that we can blend this layer to the other one. Now, by default, your After Effects won't show the modes in here. So you're gonna have to click on this button right here, and now you have mode, you have matte, you have parent. So the only thing I'm gonna change in here is from normal to add. So right now you can see that my flare is following the particles and or vice versa. Now what I want to do, I want to make my flare similar to the color of my particles. Sorry, just let me rename this one right here. Let me rename it. Okay. I want to make my flare the color of my particles now, because I don't like this white, especially because it blends right here, so you cannot even see that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to my flare layer, go to my effects and presets, and I'm gonna add a curve, color correction curve. You can find this kind of a node in in Nuke, and it functions the same way. if you know Bezier color. So on my channel, I want to make this kind of blue, so I'm going to go to my blue channel, and if I decrease blue from that, it's going to turn into yellow. If I increase, it's going to turn into blue. Same thing, it works with Nuke. If I have my red right here, if I increase it, it's going to be red, but if no, it's going to be kind of a cyan color. But right now, I just want to do with the blue channel, and I just want to put this up around there. I think that's good for me. And now you can see that it still follows it, but now with a different color. Let me see if I can make bluer here. I think it doesn't matter that much. Yeah, that's too blue. You can key this one too, right here, if you want. If you want this to be right here on the first frame, you can do it, and then like while you are going to the timeline, you want this to be like change color and go to a kind of a yellow. So if you are already had clicked on this key here, it's gonna do that. So I'll just go back and just put my blue in there. Awesome. So this part is done. Now what's missing is my text. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna do a layer, white layer for my text, and I'm gonna apply a text in another layer and just blend them together. So right now, if I go back to my layers, I'm gonna right click, new, solid. This is gonna be my text background, and I'm gonna change this to white. Cool. Now for me to add a text in here, I just have to go again, right click, new, text, and it's gonna show up a text layer right here. When this shows up, if you go to the top right corner of your screen, you're gonna see character, paragraph, everything related to text. Right now, if I click on here, I can type whatever I want. You can see that the color, it's really faded, and you can see that it's not centered, it doesn't have bold, and the size of the letter is too small. So I'm just gonna change this first. I'm gonna change this to bold. I'm gonna select the color, black. I'm gonna just do a text here. Just gonna type text. You can see that it's still too small, and here you can see that it goes up to 72. You can go higher than that. If you just do, you can click here and do whatever number you want, or you can just go click and drag. This is good for me. I can even make more bolding here, and this one here is the space between the letters. So like when I do this, I can put more space between each letter. So I like this one right here, and right now we just have to position in the middle. So that's why we go to paragraph and just click on this one right here. Now my text is in the middle. Hopefully my particles are gonna cover that. Or just can make like this, smaller or bigger sooner or later. Not a big of a deal. Now we're gonna blend these two layers together, the text layer and the text background. delete this one here. That layer appeared because I clicked twice on the image, so it did like 2 text boxes. So if I just left click here, select Shift or Command and click on the text background layer, I can select them both. And if I just right click, I can pre-comp, and here I can name it. I'm gonna name this text. And hit OK. Now you have a layer with those 2 layers merged together. Right now you can see it that it's on the top layer here. If I bring it down, now you can see my particles going on top of it. And actually this is really neat, this is really nice, I like it. But we don't want the text to be here all the time, and we also lost information on our vignette. So we're gonna have to put this back here, because you're gonna do modifications on that. And I want particles to actually build my text. I don't want to see this boring black color here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create another layer, solid, and I'm just gonna name this one particles in the text, and just hit OK. Because what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna create a new particles. They're gonna act separately from the first particles I created before, and those particles are only gonna affect the text. So if we select our new particle inside the text layer, go to Effect, go to Simulation, and click CC Particle Systems, it's going to happen the same thing that it happened before. A lot of particles showing up. For this particular one, it's going to be different, all the settings from the first particle layer and particle effect I created. Right now I'm going to go to my birth rate, and the effect I'm looking for particles all over the screen, filling up almost every gap by the end of our timeline right here. So I'm just gonna put my birth rate to 100. I'm gonna put my longevity to 10. My producer, I'm gonna put both of my radius X and my radius Y to 50. So now you can see that it covers the whole screen, and it gets the effect that I wanted. Nothing, and then the particles started showing up and filtering up the whole screen. So as you can see, I'll just zoom in here. These particles right here, it's what's going to define the letter. So there's going to be a point where they're going to blend too much, where actually the letter is going to be the color you chose for your particles. While right here, it's going to be like separate particles building that letter. The position is good. I don't need to key this because it's already doing the effect I want. I'm gonna go to my physics. I'm gonna put my velocity into 0. I'm gonna put my gravity 0. I'm gonna put my direction 0 and the y in 100. So now you can see that right now they're really small particles just showing up, just popping up. This part is done. For the physics, I'm gonna go now to my particle. I want to be the same kind of particle because the idea behind this is that, let me hide these layers. The idea behind this is that when this cross the screen, it leaves particles behind that's gonna build the text. That's the idea behind it. So I want the same kind of particles that try a polygon, and you can see they look like Doritos right now. You can see that they really blend right here, to the point you cannot even see the letters anymore. I'm just gonna increase a little bit my birth size to 0.2. My size variation is nice, it's 50. My opacity map, I want fade in instead of fade out. So like for this part right here, you can see that it starts with nothing and then it builds gradually from beginning to end, differently from fade in. My color map can be origin to death. It can be birth to origin. It can be origin constraint. But if you choose those operations, you're gonna lose your ability to choose the color. It's gonna turn into green, into gray. So normally what I tend to use always is birth to death. So then I can control the birth color and the death color. We're gonna pick the same colors as we picked before. So for my birth color, I'm gonna pick that nice blue. And for my death color, I'm gonna select that pink color. And in between this, it's gonna show up the purple. So right now you can see that blue, turn into purple, and going pink. And we're gonna change the transfer mode to screen, just like the other one. Now what I want this to be under the text. So now I can see what happens. Right now you're gonna see that nothing's happening right here. It's because you need to add a matte. For this particular one, I'm gonna add a Luma inverted matte. Now, let me just go here. You can see that now the letters, they are appearing before the actual particles go through the area. And you can see that even when they're gone, the particles still don't show up correctly. Now, for you to change that, we're gonna do two things first. First thing, you can just click on this layer and drag it. So then by the time the particles are like here, I want them to already start being pink. When the particles are like here, I want them to be purple. When the particles are here, I want them to be kind of blue, but this part doesn't matter that much because we are gonna do a wipe for this area. so then it shows up right here. And here, just kind of scale that to the end. I'm happy with this right now because like right when he leaves, gives us a nice text particle. Okay. So the first thing is done. Now we're gonna do the second one. The second one is that I'm gonna have to add a wipe to wipe the beginning, and it shows right about here probably. So for me to do that, I'm gonna have to duplicate my particle layer. Sorry, I'm gonna have to duplicate my particle layer. And I'm gonna add a wipe effect, and that's gonna wipe the beginning. So I'm gonna come here to my particle effects layer. I'm gonna right click. And actually before that, let me just merge these two together because this one they are doing what I want. The particle and the text. I'm just gonna merge them together. So I'm gonna go to precomp, and this is gonna be my text. Okay, right here. So right now they both come together. So now I'm gonna go and right click, new, solid. Sorry, not that. I'm gonna duplicate this. So for you to duplicate that, you can duplicate the same way in Maya. Just do a Command D. Now we have a duplicated effect right here. I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna not make it visible, the first one, so then I know which one I am working with. I'm gonna drag this to the top, so then I know what I'm doing. You can see there's the same exact effect. And right now we're gonna change some values in here. I want this to be white because I don't want them to blend with the other particle layer that I have. So this is going to be just my wipe layer. So right now I'm just going to change some things in here. I'm going to set my color map to birth to death. That's okay. But my colors are going to be completely white. My opacity map, I'm gonna do a constant. So now this is what it's going to look like. I'm actually going to make it not visible my flare layer too. So now we don't have like that little glow ball in there. Now we can see like what the particles are doing right now. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want my wipe to follow the same movement as my particles. The reason why my particles are there, it's because I know that when it's here, I don't want the text. But when my particles are around here, I want my text to start to appear. So, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go to the bottom again. I'm gonna make a new layer. Solid. This one I'm gonna call it wipe. I want it to be white, then I can see it. And right now I'm gonna go to my effects and I'm gonna type wipe. Let me put linear wipe actually. Linear. Right here. Again, same thing. Click, drag, drop on top of the wipe. Now I have this one right here where we can key it. So from 100 to 0. Right now it's going on the opposite direction I want them. It's not going from left to right, it's going from right to left. So I'm just going to change here and put a negative 90. So now it's going from left to right. Right now I'm going to set this to 100 because we know that in the beginning of our comp I want this to be wiped. So I'm just going to come here and set up a key. Just clicking here. Then I'm going to scroll through my timeline to the point where the particles. I'm going to cross the text and the text can already start to appear. So it's just around here, around this frame. So right now I can put everything to 0. 0. And it's going to already be keyed. So right now you can see it that our animation is done. It's complete. Now I think that this there's a really like fine edge between those two, so like my texts are not gonna appear faded. They're gonna be like in parts like this. Good thing we have a feather. So now you can put like, you can crank this up. You can put like 0 and have the edge. It's up to you or what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this to around 180, giving that nice feather fall off over there. So now what I have to do, I have to select this new layer, Command select the duplicate particle layer, and do a new comp. On this one I'm gonna call it Y. So this part here is done, and you can see that it's on top of it. So we're gonna drag this and put it under the original particle layer and change our math to Luma Particle Effects. This is weird. Wait, it's not weird at all actually. I'm going to add an effect called linear wipe. So just come here and type it, linear wipe. You're going to find it. Left click and drag it to the wipe layer. This basically allows you to animate that particular background you created by just changing these values right here from 100 to 0. Right now it's going the opposite direction of my particles. I don't want that. I want that to go from left to right. So I'm just gonna change 90 to negative 90. So right now it's going from left to right. So the way that I'm gonna keep that thinking about when I want my text to appear and in which part I want my text to not be visible. Right now, if you scroll here, around, you can see like around like this part, you want your text to start getting visible. So I'm gonna set my transition complexion for 100 right here. So I'm just gonna come here and click on the set frame. So on this frame it's gonna be 100. Now I want to go where it doesn't appear anymore, where I want my text to actually appear. Actually, it's around here. Can appear everything. So I'm gonna go from 100 to 0, and it's already keyed. So right now you can see my animation. Both my particle and my wipe are going on the same direction. You can see that right now my wipe, it has this fine edge right here. It's a line. So when your text appear, it's not going to appear like the nice feathered way. It's going to be like chunks. So like this one is going to be that chunk, this one is going to be the other chunk, and it's going to start like going in chunks and not feathered. So one good thing about this effect is that it has a feather right here. So you can crank this up, or if you want like just to come up with chunks, you can do that too. I'm gonna set this to 180. Now I have the effect that I want. The only thing you're gonna have to change now is just put it in order. So I want my wipe and my text to go under the particle node, the particle layer. I want them all to be visible, and you can see it. That it looks like it still didn't disappear, and now I have like this ugly white color showing up out of nothing. There's only one thing gonna have to change now. Just go to a text layer, go to none, and just click Luma Matte White. So we create a matte on top of that. So now if you just hit play, it's done. So you can see that as we key it from this point on, our particles are going to appear in the text. So now that's done. If you want to render this, just select all of your layers, go to pre-comp, Final, select this layer, go to composition, add render to queue. It's gonna open this tab right here, and here you put your outputs. You put every setting you want in here, and then just come here and hit render. Now, this is if you want to do a text. Now, if you want to do a logo, the principles are the same. Let me just go back there. Undo it. Okay, cool. The principle, it's basically the same. So instead of a text, you're going to have to add your logo. Now, what if I want only part of my logo to be particles and the other part I want it to be a solid color? You can do that. Actually, I'm going to demonstrate that now. Just let me find the image. Okay, cool, awesome. So I went to the internet and I googled an owl. So let's say that this is my logo. And I don't want any of these, any of the leaves. I don't want anything, I just want the owl. And I want the inside part of the owl, this light purple right here. I want this part to be the particles, but I want the outside parts, the black parts, the big part. Everything I want it to be the same color as this image right here. I don't want the particles to affect this or to be on top of it. But I still want to have the nice wipe technique. So what you have to do is that I wouldn't advise you to just put this image there because it's not going to work. So what I did, I went to Photoshop and I separated what's going to be particles and what's not going to be particles. So, and I turned them into PNG, so the rest is transparent. Right now it's not perfect because this is just for like a podcast. So they have like some dirt in here. It's not perfectly cleaned up, but it's just, this is an example. So I took the part of the owl that's gonna be the particle, which is the inside, and I turned it into black. I would not advise you guys to put a white, red to keep it this color. I did that before and it looked kind of opaque. It looked like it had too much opacity in there, and it's just a headache for you to try to change that. You can try to change that, but you're gonna have like to do another layer, search for like a color correction, opacity, drag that, drop on top of the layer, and then merge everything together. So that's actually another step you're going to have to do it, and you're going to waste time doing that if you can just go to Photoshop and turn that into black. So this is the part that I want to be particles, and this one is the part that I want to continue being a solid color with no particles interacting with that. So what I'm gonna do, just gonna go back to After Effects. Instead of my text, I'm gonna enable this. My wipe is gonna be the same, because again, my wipe is already set up, and the wipe was gonna be the same way for the logo. So since my wipe is already set up, the only thing I need to change is the text. So I'm just gonna enable my text. I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna call this my logo background. I'm gonna make it white. And I'm gonna bring the particle part of my owl, which is this one right here. Just drag it and drop it. It's gonna appear in there, and it's gonna give you these handles right here where you can resize your owl. Okay, I think this is nice. Cool. That's a nice position for that. And again, I'm just gonna merge these two together. And this is gonna be my particle owl. Now we're gonna do the same thing as that we did for the text. We are going to create a new layer, name it particle in the owl. Can make it white. Particle in the owl. With that layer selected, go to Effects, Simulation, CC Particle Systems 2. Again, it's gonna show up the same thing. I'm gonna go kind of fast with this now because this already has been explained in the text. I'm just gonna change my values here really quick. They're basically gonna be exact the same as a text. Because again, we are just using another image below the particles. So if the particles are the same, so that if the image like is still black, you can actually like make this think about this as a symbol or as a single letter. You are just redoing what you did for that particular text. The direction's gonna be, wait, let me remember that. The direction is gonna be 0, 100. My particle is gonna be the polygon, 0.2, 0.7. I want this to fade in, width to depth, choose the color. This is screen, fade in, size variation 50. Okay, everything is good. Let me see it. Yep, everything's fine. Now, as we did before, drag the new particle layer under the text or the new object. We want it to be the text now, and we're gonna make a mat for that. So make it a Luma inverted mat. Yeah, Luma inverted mat. Yeah. Since my wipe is already kind of there, maybe we're gonna have to change that too. But you can see that my owl is there, so it works. If you want, you can also change too. You can make like here, I want it to be more purple. You can do that. So the wipe is not working because remember this is on top of the wipe, so the wipe is not being able to function on this part right here. So okay, it's good, it's working. Now what I just want to add the original color in that. We can do that really quick. Just go to Finder, drag and drop the image. I'm going to be on top. Use the handles so you can go and try to match that. Let me like make this like this and I can see it better. Try to match a little bit up. be more to the side. Okay, that's close enough. It's not perfect, but this podcast is gonna be like an hour if I try to match correctly. But yeah, now it's working with both. Again, the reason why it's showing up in here is because it's on top of the wipe. But we basically have our logo with only particles on the part that we want it to. So we're gonna merge all these three layers together. And I'm gonna call it owl. I'm gonna drag this layer under the wipe, and I'm gonna change the matte to Luma matte. So now if I scroll back, you can see that there's my owl disappears. Let me just hit play. And now my owl shows up. And the particles are moving, and the solid color appeared too. Everything. So again, if you want to add an audio here, you can do that too. Just drag and drop the audio here, choose which part of the audio you want, and try to match it. So I'm just gonna do a quick render just to show you guys how to render this part here. So now if I want my owl, I leave it in there. If I don't, I can put my text. But my text it's not working out because I changed a lot of things. But that's okay. Let me just put my owl back there. And I'm gonna select everything. Pre-comp. File. Select that layer. Composition. Add to render queue. Best settings. This is for like if you want to change the resolution, disk, everything. Everything for me is okay. Output, lossless. More options for that, like in which format do you want the video, the channels, everything. By default, this is going to be off, set to off. So even if you have an audio in that scene, it's not going to show up because it's set to off. The only thing I'm going to put, you just change this to on and hit OK. And output 2, you're going to choose the directory for your movie. So it's going to be comp 1. It can be all my movies. Save as a QuickTime. Save it. And I'm going to render. Just click here, render. And it's going to go through my timer. So it shows you what's rendering. The reason why it's taking too long to render is because on my comp I forgot to just set until like what point I wanted it to render, but it's just like 1 more minute, so that's gonna be okay. That's pretty, I like that pink. Just a little bit more. And it's done. So now if I go to where I output my video, it's movies, comp 1. We'll convert. Take all the time of the world to convert. Just go. As you guys can see, I have like different podcasts. Actually, it's the same one, but there's a part where like one of my settings were wrong, or didn't work the way that I wanted, so I had like to stop and start recording again. So probably in some parts it's gonna look like I stopped talking out of nowhere. It's just because I comped them together. But it's gonna, the results are gonna be fine. It's gonna be a nice one. Done converting. Jesus. Cool. Now if we hit play, we have our nice effect. Just hit play it again because that stopped. I think it was like calculating or something. And that's it. And yeah, as you can see, that's a nice result. The reason why it's kind of jumping, it's because of my computer. As you guys can see, the fans are on. But if you put that in YouTube or send that to a friend or even like do that in your computer, probably have more memory than I do, and the movie is going to be better. It's not going to do some popping. But yeah, this is how you can put a logo and put a text with a nice particle effect in After Effects.